What's up, guys, and welcome back to the fucking podcast. I'm your host, Jay Lyons. You already know this. Episode 96. We're getting dangerously close to that old triple digit, the big old 100. We're getting close. Only a few more episodes, and also 96. Flip those numbers around, and we got something special going on here. You know what I'm saying? Mark my words. In a few years, 96 is going to be like the new 67. You know what I'm saying? It used to just be straight up 69, right? Funny, great ass number. Everyone loves 69. And then it became this new thing now, 67. Because, 67 plus you and me equals 69, baby. At least I think that's where the background on that is. I think it's from a song. I don't know the song. Never heard the song. I mean, that's how you know you're getting fucking old. Just slang's coming out from like songs and shit, and I'm like, I've never heard this song. But I mean, then again, it doesn't help. I don't like listen to the radio, so I don't know. Is that where people still get new music? Is from the radio? I don't even know. I have my few favorite artists, and then whenever they drop new music, that's what I do. That's what I listen to. Or I just go on to like Apple Music and go to like one of their, specially made playlists. They're like, oh, new music just for you. And I listen to that. And it's just the most obscure shit ever. Actually, it may not even be. It's just obscure to me because I've never... These songs on these new playlists that Apple's recommending to me could be the popular songs of the current age. And I would have no idea because I don't listen to the radio. So I don't know. So to me, I'm like, these are just some obscure artists. I don't know who Lil Tahoe is. Who's that? Who's Lil Tahoe? He may be the next big thing. I don't know. But yeah, just saying, mark my words. After 6-7 dies, 96. 96 is going to be the new thing. It was like, 96. Just turn around. 96 plus us turning around equals 69. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what to talk about, if I'm being real. This happens every time. Every single fucking time I try to do another episode of the podcast. It's like I the whole week leading up to doing an episode, I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this and that. And sometimes I get a little too excited and I start like reciting what my material is going to be the day of. I start being like, okay, I'm going to say it like this. And like, I'm coming up with great jokes, deliveries and all that stuff. And it's like, I get here in the moment and my head just empty. Every idea just went right out the window. And I'm just like, I don't even know what I was going to talk about. And I don't even know how I was going to say it. I don't remember what jokes I was sort of thinking of. It's literally, it's not until after I finish recording and I'm like putting everything together for the YouTube video and I'm like reviewing the content and I cringe at myself because I'm like, dude, that delivery sucked ass. Like I suddenly remembered everything that I was going to say. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally messed up the delivery, And so, you already know. When I'm done with this, suddenly all the ideas are going to come flooding back. And I'm like, oh, that's right. But right now I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I have no idea what to talk about. We're live once again from Taylor Swift's crib. She invited me back for another time, even though I was a little late last time. You know what I mean? Like I went a little over the allotted time for that she allows for me. She only allows me about like 90 minutes, an hour and a half to record a podcast episode. But dude, I recorded right up to the last minute. I'm telling you, like when I said goodbye the last episode, I literally had to leave in like 2 minutes. But I still had to export the file and all that stuff. And so she came in. She wasn't too happy about that. But she was gracious enough. Gracious enough. That's what I mean. Gracious enough to allow me to come back to do another episode. So I'm here. Luckily, she didn't put any sort of time penalty on me. You know what I mean? She's like, all right, you only get an hour this time. So, think about that next time you want to run over. But no, she was nice about it. So I'm back. The only problem is I just don't know what to talk about. Just beautiful weather we're having. You know what I mean? I do that a lot. Just talk about the weather. That's like the small talk version of podcasting. Just talking about the weather. Just to fill the runtime. Yeah, what beautiful weather we're having here. What's funny is that there's no windows here. I can't see the outside. So I didn't factor that into my design plans when I was constructing this whole thing. I didn't think about putting in a window. I was listening back to a few of my episodes, and I do that a lot. I just talk about the weather at the beginning of like every podcast. I'm like, wow, it's a beautiful day outside. But I can't help it. When it's a good day, it's a good day. You gotta take your blessings as they come. It's a beautiful day. Acknowledge that shit. So I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it's still a good day. It was a good day when I came here. Pause. When I arrived at the studio, it was a nice day. But who knows? Maybe in the time frame between me walking through the door and starting this podcast, it just turned horrible. Fucking thunderstorms going on. I have no idea. It's Florida, baby. The weather is bonkers, especially here in the summer. 1 second it could be sunny, and then like literally 30 seconds later, it's a hurricane. Borderline hurricane just pulling up. So I mean, who knows? Maybe it was sunny, bright and sunny, not a cloud in the sky when I walked in, but like the moment I stepped into the studio, it could have just started pouring rain. I have no idea. I would have no idea. No window. So I'm just going to take it as it's still a beautiful day outside. Because that's the way I like to think. Just to sort of give you an example of like just how bonkers Florida weather can be. Just a few days ago, I went to the beach over on the Atlantic Ocean, East Coast, Florida. And, pull up to the beach around like noon, right? Set up shop. This was like a couple days ago. This was like Sunday. Set up shop, laying in the sands, just sun shining on me, clear sky. I mean, there was I take it back. There was a few clouds, but it was nice. It was nice though. The clouds were nice because they would just cover the sun sometimes and just cast shade. And so you didn't even really have to be under an umbrella or anything like that. You could just lay out in the sun theoretically and be perfectly fine. You didn't have the sun beating down on you. So nice day. Set up shop, crack open a cold one, grab my subs because that's what you gotta do. If you're a Floridian, you're going to the beach, you gotta have subs. That's just it's a requirement. So bust out the subs, munching down on those things, and I just gotta say, I fucking love sandwiches. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's like a big cliche. It's like a big meme that men love sandwiches, right? The whole thing of like, sorry for that voice crack there, but like the whole meme of like, go make me a sandwich. It's not a funny meme. I don't mean to laugh at that. That's sexist, but it's like a whole thing. It's like, make me a sandwich. Men just love sandwiches, right? That's like a whole thing. And when I was a kid, I never got it. I never thought sandwiches were too special. In fact, well, I don't want to say I didn't like sandwiches, but like if you gave me a choice, I'm talking about like regular cold cut sandwiches, right? I'm not going to throw burgers in the mix of like sandwiches or chicken sandwiches. I'm not going to throw that. I'm just talking about like cold cuts, right? Like you just get like a turkey and ham cheese sandwich or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really get the whole, the hype behind it per se. When it comes to men, I'm like, what? I don't know what you guys are freaking out about. There's just bread and some cold cuts, But as I've gotten older, dude, I fucking see it. I see the vision. Okay, sandwiches are fucking fire. I love getting subs, pub subs, Jersey Mike's. You got to get Mike's way. I don't know what Mike puts on that shit, but Mike has a way with sandwiches that makes them extra tasty. Oh my God. My favorite sandwich, the sandwich that I always get roast beef, provolone, pepperonis, Mike's Way with jalapenos. Oh dear God. I usually get it on white bread, but I recently found out that they got like a cheese bread. It's like a rosemary thing. And it's like the bread where there's like cheese baked on the loaf. I just found out they had that. I don't know how I didn't know they had that, but I just found out that Jersey Mike's has that type of bread, and I'm like, dude, that's going to be the icing on the cake. It's going to be the cheese on the bread. Literally. But I usually just get on regular white bread, and it's fire that way. So, I mean, I'm just saying, sandwich recommendation for all you people out there, go to Jersey Mike's. Get a number 12. That's what it is. Get a number 12 Mike's Way with jalapenos. Canned crow special. I'm putting you all on to some good shit. It's not on the menu. So, like, when you walk in and you don't see it on the menu, don't freak out. They're going to know what it is, right? Which is another thing I found out. I'm going way off on a tangent of simply just sandwiches when I was talking about the weather. But but like, you know, I always wondered whenever I went into Jersey Mike's, you look at the menu and they got like 1 through 10, and then it's just like 15, 22, and then you got sandwiches that go up to like 64. But there's like none of the numbers in between. And I always wondered, I was like, hey, what happened to all these numbers, the other numbers? Where are they? You know what I mean? And like, why do you have them numbered that way? Why do you just have a 65 there? You know? And it turns out that they actually have a huge fucking menu online where they actually got like probably 69 items. I know they at least got the 64 because I swear that's a number up there on the menu. But yeah, they got so many different sandwiches. And Canned Crow Special is number 12, but it's not on the physical menu in the stores. But they know what it is, which is another thing that surprises me, and why I don't think I could ever work at Jersey Mike's. Because, I mean, are you seriously telling me that I got to memorize like fucking 65 sandwich combinations? Are you serious? Someone pulls up and says, yo, give me a number 22. And I'm just supposed to know what that is. The only one that I know is the Canned Crow Special, and that's because that's the one I order. Roast beef, cheese, and pepperonis. You know, I don't know. I guess it's sort of like Starbucks. You know, if someone pulls up and they're like, yo, can I get like a vanilla caramel swirl latte? And you're just supposed to know how to make that. Know exactly how many pumps of whatever the fuck, how many scoops of sugar. You know, I feel like that's way too much memorization. Especially if you're trying to go to school at the same time. Like, how do you do that? How do you go to college and work at Starbucks? That's so much shit that you got to memorize. And for Starbucks, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, unless you plan on having a career of solely being a barista at Starbucks, you're never going to use that information ever again. Right? Because how often are you going to go to like someone's house and they're like, yo, can you make me this type of latte? I mean, how many people have that type of equipment at their house? I don't know. Anyways, now I'm talking about coffee. What was I talking about? Like the weather? Yeah, I was talking about the weather. Yeah, so anyways, how bonkers Florida weather is. That was it. I was talking about my trip to the beach. So anyways, yeah, so we had our subs, fucking fire, drinking a beer. And dude, we were only there for maybe like 45 minutes, okay? And all of a sudden, the wind just went crazy. You know, it was like a twister was pulling up, you know, almost broke our umbrella. Effectively did, but I guess we got a specially made umbrella because, you know, it's for the beach. It's able to just invert, you know, like bend backwards. Because that's what happened. The wind was so strong, it flipped our umbrella. It inverted it, but it's not broken. It's perfectly fine. We closed it up. And it still works. So anyway, so yeah, fucked up our umbrella for a hot second. And I turn around. There's just a wall of dark gray clouds just pulling up to the beach from behind us, coming from the west and moving right on top of us. You know, it got stupid dark, you know, not like nighttime, but like, you know, like storm dark. You know what I mean? We're checking the weather apps on our phone, and we just see this wall of like the radar, you know, it's just like a wall of yellow and red blobs just moving right towards us. And we're like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. You know what I mean? Like, we just got here. I just finished my sub. I'm in a great ass mood right now. Okay. And you're gonna literally rain on my parade. Nice. Okay. That's cool. Right. So we didn't really want to sit out there in the rain. So we're just like, okay, let's just head out. Right. We'll leave the beach. And we decided to go to like this Ron John's store that's like right there at the beach, this giant Ron John's surf shop. And pulled up, and we're like, we'll just shop here for a little bit, let the rain pass. Because we were going to eat at a restaurant out there as well. Like, we had reservations for this place out there by the beach. And so we're like, okay, we can't leave until we, you know, have our dinner, right? So we were just shopping in Ron John's for a little bit, just looking at the nice, beach attire. I actually got this shirt from there. It says caution dance floor. Don't ask me what this has to do with surfing or the beach. I don't know why this is at Ron John's, but I thought it was funny. Caution dance floor. You know what I mean? I like to dance. I love dancing. I'm not very good at dancing, but I do like it. You know what I mean? So Charlie D'Amelio, if you ever need a dance partner on like Dancing with the Stars, just let me know. Like I said, I'm not gonna be very good, but I mean I enjoy doing it. So so it'd be more like, it'd be like Dancing with the Rejects, more like, because I'd just be so bad at dancing. I would just fuck everything up, She asked me to like throw her in the air and then like catch her while she does like a twirl or something like that. I'm just going to drop her, not on purpose. Like I'm not saying I'm purposely doing that. I'm just saying like that's how bad I am. Like I'm just going to fuck it up. She's going to get horribly injured. That should be a show, Dancing with the Rejects, and it's literally just bad dancers. That'd be so fucking funny, dude. And just have like the judge of the whole thing be Miss Australian Olympic breakdancer herself. Like she'll be the judge, and it's just only bad dancers. That'd be like so like early 2000s coded. You know what I mean? Because, back in the early 2000s, I mean, they just had game shows where they just roasted the fuck out of people. Like this one like resurfaced where like they were like, it was like basically a game show of just seeing who was the ugliest person. That was it. They just got a bunch of ugly people and they were just like, yeah, of you, who's the ugliest? And the crazy thing is a lot of them just weren't even ugly. They're not even ugly. And they take the bag off of their head and the whole crowd is like, oh God, they're chopped. Well, they didn't say that, obviously, because chopped wasn't like a phrase back then or a word. It was a word, but it wasn't the way we use it now. But yeah, they would just, oh my God, like they were gagging. People were fucking throwing up. And it's just like the most normal looking person ever. I don't know what it's called though. It's something like, like, are you more chopped than a fifth grader or something? That wasn't it. Yeah, we should. That should be a game show. I guess not. No, not a game show. A tournament show. Dancing with the Rejects. To be the opposite of Dancing with the Stars. And just bad dancers. That'd be funny. I'd watch that. Anyways, I got off on a tangent again, didn't I? I was still talking about the weather. I haven't even finished my weather story of how crazy the weather is. It wasn't just that the rain pulled up. Anyways, we were we were at Ron John's and fully expecting there to just be an absolute monsoon pulling up, right? So we're going to be here for a while, and hopefully the rain has passed by the time it's time for us to go for our dinner reservations, right? And we're sort of walking around. And I don't hear rain at all, Usually in Florida, I'm assuming this is other places where it rains as well, but usually in Florida, like if you're like in a building, if it's raining, you're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it hitting the roof and all that stuff. Like you're gonna know that it's raining, right? I'm not hearing anything, right? I sort of look out the windows and it's sunny. The ground is not wet at all. There's no gray clouds, and I'm like. And we were in the store for like 30 to 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Probably an hour. And when we had left the beach, it said the rain was pulling up in like 15 minutes. And the weather was calling for heavy rain, And I'm like, it's not even raining. So I pull up my weather app again, pull up the radar. Literally this wall of storm that was moving towards us, right? All of a sudden, right where we were, this like alcove just creates, and it's just this space of no storm, and the one big blob broke off into two and just went right around where we were at the beach. And I'm like, are you telling me that we could have just stayed at the beach and would have been perfectly fine? Are you serious right now? Literally the entire time we were down there, or I guess over there. We weren't down, but the whole time we were over there on the East Coast, it didn't rain at all the whole time we were there. And we pulled up, close to noon. It was probably a little bit earlier than that, probably like 11:45. And we didn't leave to drive back home until like 6:30 or something like that after we had our dinner. So it's like we were there for 6.5 hours. Didn't rain at all. The only time it rained was about halfway through our trip back home. That was the only time it rained. We were driving halfway through, started raining, and then it stopped. And it wasn't raining at our house. So it's just like, what the fuck was that about? You know what I mean? Fully thought it was about to start pouring rain. And it just didn't. But, it is what it is, I guess, Other than that, with me, it was a nice day. Like I said, got a nice shirt out of it. I got 2 shirts, actually. My other one, I don't even understand this shirt. That's why I had to get it, because it was so funny. And these shirts were on clearance, so gotta take the deals when you see them, So the other shirt I got, fully thought it was like a Dirty Dancing shirt, because on the front it had like in that Dirty Dancing writing. It was not cursive, but it's like that styled. And it said like Party Pants. And I think that's like the name of the company, Party Pants, which also, that's just fucking funny. Party Pants, just to have on your shirt written, Party Pants. That's me. I'm Mr. Party Pants. But on the back, it had in cursive, Legends Only. Then it also said Party Pants in smaller print underneath. And it had the picture of a T-Rex, or like a cartoon T-Rex with shades, drinking a martini on a jet ski. I don't understand that at all. And I'm like, I have to have it. I have to have this shirt. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Party Pants with a fucking T-Rex drinking martini on a jet ski. I mean, that's perfect. And then Caution, Dance Floor. I got a thing for just like goofy ass tees. There was like another t-shirt that I almost got. And it was just like a weird cartoon of a rat on like rocket roller skates. I almost got that shirt as well. But, at a point, I can't just buy everything, Because there were so many of these shirts. And they just have nothing to do with... Okay, well, the jet ski, that's ocean-esque, right? That's an ocean activity. But, they had so many shirts that just had nothing to do with the beach. Had nothing to do with Ron Johns, had nothing to do with surfing, had nothing to do with tropical shit. Just nothing, Like Caution, Dance Floor. What? I suppose that's why it was on sale, because probably everyone else was looking at it and they're like, why do I want this? Okay. I'm about to hop on a cruise. Why would I get this shirt? Because it's funny. I'm going to wear this to like the club. That's what I got to do. I got to wear this shirt to the club and be like, excuse me, everyone, caution. Mr. Dance Floor is pulling up to the dance floor. You're about to watch my Dancing with the Rejects moves. Okay. Charlie D'Amelio, call me up. Let's make this happen. Dancing with the Rejects. That's what it should be. Just an actual dancer paired up with someone who just has no fucking clue what they're doing and just see what happens. But yeah, anyways. But yeah, that's the craziness of Florida weather, Just like 1 second it's sunny and the next second it's pouring fucking rain. Except when it doesn't. You think it is, but it doesn't. But you can't blame us for thinking that it was actually going to rain, because during the summer, it always rains in the afternoon. It always just pours rain. Which is why, considering it's like what? It's 3:35 right now. That's why it's probably pouring rain outside right now. It's probably sunny when I was out there, but then I stepped 1 foot in the building, then monsoon just comes down. But luckily I'm in the studio, so don't got to worry about that. But I do miss having a window, though. I do miss kind of having like the natural light come in, Maybe I should talk to Taylor about that. Be like, hey, Taylor, do you mind if we just like for your house, just cut a big window right here? Just so I can see outside, see if it's sunny. Just so I have something to talk about on my podcast, because that seems to be the only thing I can come up with. Just talking about the weather. Anyways, yeah, went to the beach, went to this restaurant, right there on the port. You know, I love this place that I go to. I don't really want to give the name away because like it's already busy as fuck. I don't want to make it even more popular. It's popular enough that it's successful. So I'd like, you know, I wish them success, but you know, I still want to be able to go to this place myself. You know, but there's a place that I like to go to. So right on the port, and you can just see like all the cruise ships leaving. And you know me, I fucking love cruise ships. Wish I was on any single one of those that was leaving on Sunday. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, it's just God. I want to go on a cruise now. Now I'm thinking about it. I just want to hop on a cruise for like a week. Haven't been on a cruise in close to 2 years now. I think, yeah, close to 2 years. I haven't been on a cruise. I could have went on a cruise over the summer, but those plans sort of fell through. That's okay. I'm not mad about it. No, but like, yeah, one of the funny things though is that when like you talk about cruising, there's like always people that bring up like the one or two incidents where like something bad happened on a cruise ship, and they're like, yeah, see, that's why I don't want to go on it. You know, like there was like it was like years ago at this point, but there was like an issue with a Carnival ship where they lost power, and it was just a horrible situation, you know. And people are like, yeah, see, that's why I would never go on a cruise. And it's like, okay, yeah, how often has that happened, really? I've been on, like 12 cruises. I've never lost power out at sea, you know? I've been in rough seas a few times, so I guess if you're seasick, that's sort of like a reoccurring issue, you know, and a pretty common one. But yeah, you know, cruising's awesome. But actually, you know what? I just like the restaurant, I don't really want too many people hopping on the bandwagon. So actually, cruising sucks. You never want to go on a cruise. Don't go on a cruise. Don't go on one. There's too many people getting on cruise ships now. You know? Too many people who just don't really understand. Here I am sounding just like a fucking elitist. People who don't understand how to cruise properly. I don't know. It's like people who go on cruises and they think like cruises is like a club. Just like the whole ship and the whole trip is supposed to be like a club. A place like just similar to going like downtown or something like that, you know? It's like that's not really what cruising is. You know, cruising is a place for you to like quietly relax. You know what I mean? Do some like water aerobics in the pool or something. You know, it's not a club. That's why I see some videos of like cruise ships where like you look at the fucking pool deck and it's just like just people going absolutely ape shit on deck, you know, and it's just like all the humanity, you know what I'm saying? Like just sit down, relax, lay in the sun, just sit in the hot tub. You know, what are you guys doing? They're just going nuts. You know, and then you see all these videos of fights breaking out on cruise ships, and it's like, what the this is supposed to be a relaxing trip. How are you getting angry on a cruise? You know what I mean? But like I said, here I am sounding like a fucking elitist. So yeah, no, cruising sucks, guys. Don't go on a cruise. Don't go on a cruise. Everyone, if you have a cruise booked, stop it. Stop it now. Just cancel it. Just get off. No, I'm kidding. You can go on a cruise if you want. But like I said, I want to go on a cruise again. I would love to go to Labadee over in Haiti. I would love to go there. I went there one time, technically, but I couldn't really because it rained and the seas were rough that day, my friends, and we had to leave. You know, like the whole area was closed due to lightning. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't go on the zip line, you couldn't do anything, right? Because of lightning and rain and all that stuff. And so you know, we were like, hey, you know, let's just wait until it stops raining. Wait until the lightning goes away, and then we'll hit the island, right? And then the sea was too rough, and they're like, yeah, we can't stay docked. You know, we're not taking on water, but we're taking on damage. You know, like it's more dangerous to be in this type of weather. It's more dangerous to be moored up to the fucking dock than it is to be just out at sea. So we had to leave. So I went there, but I never got off, and I was never able to do anything, which sucks. You know, and it wasn't even the summer. Okay, it's not supposed to rain any other time except this. No, just kidding. It rains during other times, but it rains a majority of the time in the summer. Usually, if you go just at any point in time during the rest of the year, you can pretty much avoid the rain because it doesn't rain that often, especially in the winter. It doesn't really rain a whole lot. And so yeah, this was like December when we went, and it rained like the whole trip. We were gone for like a week, and it rained basically the whole time. But I wasn't angry because you can't be angry on a cruise. I just said that, so I was living life. But I was sad. I didn't say you can't be sad on a cruise. I was sad because I couldn't go to Labadee. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what like I said, I had ideas and now I don't really know what to talk about. So, yeah, I don't know. Got a video, working on a video right now. Crazy video. Just, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to like spoil the thing, but like I found this crazy ass account on Instagram and I just had to talk about it. And I'm like, so I made a video, currently editing that. And, I don't know when it's going to be ready though. Hopefully this week. It should be ready this week. But I recorded a lot longer than I normally do for those videos because I wanted to make sure I was getting like a lot of content out of this. So, yeah, I don't know. No ideas anymore. Maybe this was a bad day to come in to do the podcast. But it's Tuesday. Podcast goes up tomorrow, which I know it's been sort of inconsistent. Like the last episode, that released on a Friday, didn't it? No, it released on a Thursday. Right? I don't even remember. But this podcast is supposed to come out on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. I usually record on Tuesdays and they come out on Wednesdays. But when I tried booking this place last week, right? Because Taylor rents it out to more than just me, okay? So when I was reaching out to Taylor to book it, she made a whole website that you can go onto and you could book. It's called, well, actually, I don't want to give it away because I don't know how many people she wants coming over to her house. So I'm not going to tell you what the website is, but she has a website where you can book her podcast studio that I designed. And when I was booking, I was booking on like, I don't know, I was on Monday, I think it was last week. I went on and they had 2 slots. She had 2 slots. One that started at 3 and then one that started at 5, right? And she only gives each person 90 minutes to do a podcast, right? But the 3 o'clock one was booked. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I guess I'll book the 5 o'clock one. And so we went to the next page and I'm doing the final touches of, the booking and all this stuff. And when I finally hit like book, once again, this is on Monday and I was booking for a Tuesday. And when I finally hit the book number, the book button, right? It was like 5:04 on Monday. And they're like, "Uh-oh, you can't make a reservation less than 24 hours before your scheduled time." And I'm like, "But it's 5:04." Like are you seriously, you're going to bust my balls over 4 minutes? Like, why? And so I tried booking it again and they're still like, "Oh no, 24 hours." And I was like, but there's no one has booked 5 o'clock. And also by your rules, no one can book 5 for Tuesday because now it's less than 24 hours. So like, what? Just let me have it. You know what I mean? But I was like, okay, I guess maybe that makes sense. They want to give time for the system to update so Taylor's people know who's coming in and knows when. Like they can properly prepare for any podcast people coming in, right? And so I was like, okay, fine. That kind of sucks, because I wanted to release it on Wednesday, but I guess I'll have to book for Wednesday instead. So I booked for 3 o'clock on Wednesday, and that's when I recorded the episode, was Wednesday of last week. I think. I don't even remember. But I think I recorded on Wednesday and it released on Thursday. But yeah, so Taylor, you got to work that out, right? If there's an open slot, you just let people book, Like why Why not? Right? Who's going to be using this instead? I don't know. Maybe she is recording the Kelseys, and maybe that was her secret way of, making sure nobody grabs the slot. Right? It's just say, too late, 4 minutes late. The Kelseys are going on at 5. So yeah. But yeah, so I got here a little bit earlier this time, pulled up to Taylor's house a little bit earlier this time, just to make sure everything got set up. And, I left to arrive here earlier, but the traffic was just terrible. My God. Like, who knew that at like fucking 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon would have so much goddamn traffic? I mean, the holiday was yesterday. Everyone should be at work or school today. You know what I mean? What are you all doing on the road? We can't all be pulling up to Taylor's house to record a podcast, at least not at the same time. But yeah, traffic was terrible. Took me so long to get over here. And so I finally pulled up, and it was only like 2 minutes before the show starts. And I still had to set everything up because I guess whoever came over to Taylor's house before kind of screwed up my cameras a little bit. They even screwed up the fucking lights. Okay. Last time I was here, I don't know if Taylor she knew I was coming over, but like Taylor just set up the lights for me. She put it pink and blue, which is just perfect. Like that's like my show colors. I feel like, at least that's what I like to think. Those are the colors I usually use when it comes to the podcast is pink and blue. But she already had the light set up. But then when I pulled up today, it was like fucking orange and yellow and green. And I'm like, what is this? Taylor, help me out here, right? So I had to change the lights. I had to set up the cameras and all that stuff. But yeah, so once again, started a little bit late. But we're doing pretty well. It's 3:45, right? I don't know how long we've been recording for, but it's been some time, maybe 45 minutes. Probably not. I don't even know when I started. But, due to the amount of time it took for me to set everything up, probably only been like 30 minutes or something like that. I don't know, guys. I'm just filling in the runtime. I'm telling you, I had ideas. I was literally thinking about things to talk about just before I came over here. I showered just before I came over here and just, shower thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking about what I was going to talk about. I'm like, man, yeah, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about this. That'll be a good idea to talk about. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even remember what my shower thoughts were. I might as well have just been showering without a single thought in mind. That's what it feels like right now. That I just head empty. My head is empty right now, is what I'm saying. But just to get back to me being a little bit late here, Taylor right by our house has a Barney's coffee. And you know me, I love my Santa's White Christmas lattes, but I don't think I've ever had one on the show. I think I've talked about it many times, but I don't think I've ever had a Santa's White Christmas latte on the show. But she has a Barney's like right by her house. And so I'm like, I could pull up. I'll be getting there early. I could pull up to Barney's, get my Santa's White Christmas latte, drink a latte on the show. Because I usually drink coffee, but now I don't have anything. Taylor doesn't let me use her Keurig machine. But I was like, I could pull up to Barney's, get my Santa's White Christmas latte. It'll be a great day. But, because of the traffic, by the time I got there, I'm like, I have to skip this today. So I don't know. Maybe I have to leave even earlier. Maybe I got to leave around 2 next week, pulling up to Taylor's house just to make sure I got enough time to get my kofifi, set everything up, and get a fucking podcast started. I don't know. Maybe to help me out, maybe I should just like bring in a fucking notebook with just all the ideas of what I was going to talk about. Because like I said, I don't even remember. I could talk about the weather some more. Y'all want to hear about the weather? I talk about that all the time. The weather. But like I said, no, I'm not even going to go there. I literally just did a whole segment on the weather. I'm not going to go back. But yeah, 96 though. getting close to 100. I'm thinking I got to do something special for 100, but I don't even know what. I don't know what to do. My head's empty for thoughts for even the episode 100. You know, it's still goddamn 4 episodes away, and I don't even know what to talk about for it, even now. You know, but I was sort of thinking about it last night, though, thinking about 100. I'm like, this is something I got to start thinking about now. This is what I'm going to need a notebook to write all these ideas now, because I'm going to be fucked if I pull up and similar to what happened today, just head empty, you know? That would make for a very anticlimactic episode 100. But I was sort of thinking about like, you know, going on social media and asking you guys what are some of your favorite bits throughout the podcast? You know, whether it's, you know, just like a story from an episode or it's just like a moment or anything like that. And it could be from the main show, from the Bone Zone, the bonus episodes that I used to do. Just like, what are your favorite moments? And then we'll pull up and I'll react to them, because there's so many episodes that I haven't listened to in so long, you know? And so like, I don't even remember what I was talking about in most of them. Right? Like, I think I was talking to someone and they were talking about something that I was talking about on an episode, and they're like, "Oh man, this is so funny when you were talking about this and that and blah blah blah." And I literally could not even recall what they were talking about. I'm like, I don't remember talking about that at all. I have no opinions on that matter because I don't even know I don't know what you're talking about. Like the only episodes that I've listened to recently was I listened to the Large Hot Lattes one, which was like my latest one before the last episode. And then I re-listened to, I don't even remember what it was called, but I listened to one where I was talking about my jeans being torn, because I was making a short out of that. And so I re-listened to the whole episode. Those are the only episodes that I actually listened to recently. I take that back. There was another one, but that's sort of in reference to what I'm talking about. Is like the only other one is that I went way back and I saw an episode where I was talking about like getting on a plane and like fearing for my life because I thought the plane was going to crash. Completely forgot about that entire episode. And I thought it was the funniest story ever. Just listening to my own harrowing experience on a plane. You know, I thought it was fucking hilarious. And I gotta say, I gotta agree with myself. In that episode, I talked about how fire French onion soup is. Dude, I am so right. French onion soup is fire. It made me want to have French onion soup like at that moment. When I was listening to it, I'm like, it was around lunchtime. I was like, you know what would be the perfect lunch right now? French onion soup. That's what I should be having right now. And so, like, aside from the plane crash and the other two that I mentioned, those are the only episodes I listened to recently. And I'm pretty sure at the beginning of all 3 of those, I talked about the weather. So that's sort of where my opinion comes from, where I'm like, yeah, I do that a lot. I just talk about the weather. But I'm not going to go there again. It's a beautiful day, guys. No. But yeah, I was thinking like maybe that's something I could do for episode 100 is just sort of react to the other 99 episodes and then not even mentioning the Bone Zone episodes, however many of those that I did, but just sort of going back and you know, getting you guys involved, seeing like what your favorite bits are and stuff like that. So that was sort of the idea that I was mulling over, was doing something like that. So I guess if you're listening to this episode right now and you got this far, which I hope you did, I hope you listened to the whole thing. I guess just start thinking about it, I guess, and just if you have one, just send it over to me right now. You know, just you can send it on Instagram, Twitter, like my DMs. Just pull up, just send whatever your favorite moment is. You know, you could send. You could send the whole episode and say like, oh, this segment right here. Or you can just like describe what it is and like I'll just go back and look and see if I can find it. You know, hopefully I'll be able to find it. But just like sort of describe what it is. I don't know. If you can't find it. I don't know. I'm just sort of spitballing here. I'm just thinking that that'd be a fun thing to do, and maybe I could pull it up on the screen over here. Sit closer to the screen. That way I can actually utilize camera 2, and I'm not just this little thing in the corner. I'll actually be there, and we can watch on the screen there. I think that'd be pretty fun. So like I said, right now that's just sort of the idea I'm kind of mulling over for episode 100. But I'm going to continue to think things over. I'm going to continue thinking about like ideas of what I could do. I'm going to take notes this time, just so I remember. Even if I'm in the shower, I'm going to bring a waterproof notebook, something like that, and just write down my shower thoughts. That'd be a good idea, I think. But yeah, so man, episode 100 is crazy. I mean, we should be well past 100 by this point. But I missed so many episodes. But like I said, I'm getting back into it. We are going to make it to 100 someday. At some point, we're going to make it. Honestly, when I was coming back to this, since now I have this studio at Taylor's house, I was sort of thinking, maybe I should start a new show, something like that. But the only problem is that it would just be the same thing. It would just be me sitting here talking. So I mean, like, why make a whole new show for basically the exact same thing? And so I was like, but maybe we could do like a season 2. I wanted to sort of show like that this was different. But I couldn't really like settle on anything. I didn't really want to do a season 2. I thought about maybe changing the logo, but I didn't really want to change the logo either. And also, like I said, it's just we're so close to 100. I'm just like, man, I would have to start from scratch and just do another 100 weeks of episodes just to get back to 100, which is effectively 2 years if I was consistent. And I didn't want to start from scratch again. I was like, I want to get to 100. So I was like, no, we'll just continue. We'll just continue. Episode 95. It's fine. In spirit, we could say it's season 2, but we're just going to continue with the numbers, continue going up. But yeah, maybe someday we'll start a new show, just for the hell of it. But I don't know, man. I also kind of feel like podcasts are sort of dying a little bit. Like I don't know. Maybe people are still really, really involved in, podcasting and all that stuff. But just like there was a time in like the 2010s, something like that, like around 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, where it's just like podcasts were exploding, and now it just doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of like podcasts out there anymore. Or at least like, the ones have died, or just not really a whole lot of people are listening to podcasts anymore. But every once in a while, I actually like, honestly, I do talk to people, and I hear quite often people talk about how they listen to podcasts. So I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But it's sort of like, I don't even know what that show was. I don't even know what her show was called. But that Bobby chick who just blew up out of nowhere, and then just as quickly as she rose to fame, she died from fame. I was just gonna leave it at died, but I didn't want to make it sound like she didn't pass on. She's still alive. But I'm just mean like, her show is dead. But actually, I just saw she's doing another one. It's so fucking goofy. So like, I don't know how long she was doing the podcast beforehand, but it's just like all of a sudden she was doing a podcast with Drake. That was, and I feel like that's when everyone found out about this. And was that her first episode? If that is, that's a hell of a first episode. And I really want to know what the hell was going through Drake's mind when he decided to do that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe he just simply thought she was hot. But I'm just sort of thinking, I'm like, okay, dude, you're a famous celebrity, and some random person, some no name comes up and says, hey, you want to do the podcast? And you're just like, yeah, sure. If that's true, fucking any celebrity pull up to my show. That's cool. Just blow up my spot. You know what I mean? Ryan Gosling, pull up. pull up. We'll make a great episode. Me and Ryan Gosling. Because, you know, we'll be like twins. You know, he's literally me. Anyways, yeah, so she just blew up, right? She only had one good bit, right? And that was when she was talking with that one chick. I don't know who it was, but she was talking to that one chick, and she was mixing up musician and magician. That was the funniest thing, and it wasn't even her. It wasn't even Bobby. She wasn't the funny part. It was just the fact that this lady was mixing up musician and magician. Other than that, I don't know any other clips that I haven't seen any other clips of this Bobby, of her show or anything like that. But I did see that she was like, oh, you know, we're closing up shop, right? We're ending the podcast, or she's ending the podcast. Not doing it anymore because like no one really listens anymore, which I'm like, who the fuck was in the first place? You know? But then again, who am I to talk? It's not like I have any sort of like, I mean, I have you guys. You guys are great. But I mean, it's not like I'm getting millions. You know what I mean? So at least she had her 15 minutes of fame. You know what I mean? But yeah, so she closed up shop. And then like literally a week later, I saw new news that she's starting a new podcast. And her first guest is going to be Drake again in the fucking beds. And I don't. So I don't know. Has that show started? Is anyone listening? I have no idea. But I mean, I haven't heard that that one is ended yet. Although I have a feeling the end is soon when it comes to that show, because I don't see anyone talking about it. All I saw was that they announced that the show was coming back, and that's it. No one's talked about the actual comeback, or I haven't seen any clips from the new show. I haven't heard about any other guests coming on. Pause. I haven't heard of any other guests choosing to be on the show. I can't listen to sports the right way anymore because of that, you know? They're just like, you know, like the whole pause core stuff on the internet. God, that shit is so funny. You know, and it's always like from sports announcers where they're like, oh, you know, the D is coming right up in their face. So fucking good. And so I can't watch sports the same anymore. I can't, and I also just can't even have a fucking normal conversation anymore, because if anyone's saying like, you know, oh, like let's say you're hanging out with your friends or something like that, and you're like, hey, where are you? I'm here at the spot that we're meeting, and they're like, hey, I'm coming. Like I just start dying laughing. Because I'm like, yo, pause, buddy. Pause. What do you mean you're coming? I can't do it. I can't have a normal conversation anymore. Can't listen to sports anymore. You know, football just started back up again. And oh my God, I was crying laughing at some of the things that the announcers were saying. I kept saying pause all the time at some of the things. But yeah, football's back. I guess I got to talk about football. Football's back. I don't know if I've ever really talked about who my teams are. But I'm a big Florida State fan. Big Notre Dame fan, and I'm a semi UCF fan, right? I watch their shit, but you know, they're nothing too special. Never really have been. So I'm a big Florida State fan, big Notre Dame fan, and you know, UCF played last week on Thursday, actually, the day the podcast dropped. At least I think it was on a Thursday. They played on Thursday. And oh dear God, not looking forward to the season for UCF, you know. Not that they did too well last year either, but at least in the first half of the season, UCF did relatively well. It was the second half where, you know, shit started hitting the fan. But this past week, despite the fact that we did win, UCF did win the game. It was against a really easy team, and they just looked trash. So not looking forward to that. Florida State played Alabama and beat the shit out of them. I couldn't be happier. You know, Florida State did make me nervous a little bit because Alabama scored first, like early in the game. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? There's going to be a repeat of last year. Florida State is just going to suck ass. But they got their act together. And they pummeled. They pummeled Alabama. Just absolutely demolished them. It was like 31-17 at the end. Just absolutely pummeled them. And then Notre Dame played. And they played against Miami, University of Miami. And the problem with Notre Dame, though, is that like they just had no idea what they were doing in the first half of the game, right? They did not have their act together. They were screwing up all the time. They weren't making sort of not really any progress, but they got their act together in the second half. And the problem is that Miami, they had their act together like the whole time, like from the beginning of the game to the very end. And so by the end of the game, Notre Dame was able to come back. Like Miami they were like 24. They had 24 points. And I think Notre Dame had 14, something like that. And they managed for like the second half, they managed to basically shut out Miami from ever scoring again, right? And Notre Dame came all the way back to 24. And then it was like Miami's last drive. Notre Dame was strong against them. They didn't allow them to get a touchdown, but they weren't as strong as they were for the previous drives. Like before, it was just like a 3 and out for Miami, right? And it was all the way back on Miami's side of the field. But then this time, it's like they did manage to ultimately stop them, but they allowed them enough yardage to get within field goal range. And then Miami got a field goal, and there just wasn't enough time for Notre Dame's offense to score before the end of the game. And they ended up losing 27-24. I guess it was. It was like, and it was, they got that field goal in like the last minute and a half of the game. So it's like, I mean, I guess Notre Dame is looking pretty good, but hopefully the way they played in the second half is going to be how they're going to play for the rest of the year, because you know that first half is bad, and if they keep doing that, then they're gonna run the same mistake that they did for Miami, right? They're going to allow the other team to score enough points to the point where in the second half they have to work extra hard to try to close that gap, and it just leads to a bigger chance of ultimately not being able to take the win at the end of the day. So if Notre Dame's defense can play as well as they did in the second half for the rest of the year, I think Notre Dame's going to do pretty well. But I guess we'll see. This weekend, more games coming up. I don't know who's playing who, but you know, I'm all here for Florida State, baby. I'm all here. Like they were looking fire on, what was it, Saturday? I guess it was. On Saturday, they were looking absolutely fire. So I'm excited. And so yeah, that's football. But yeah, dude, the fucking announcers, they were killing me. I was dying laughing, you know, talking about the D, talking about, you know, filling in those holes. I was dying laughing. But, you know, sports announcers, they kill me all the time, you know, not just from, you know, their pause core stuff, right? But just like for example, looking at Notre Dame game, right? It was so funny to me that in the first half of the game, the quarterback for Notre Dame, I think his name was CJ Carr, I think it's the quarterback for Notre Dame. There was a couple of times in the first half of the game when he was trying to run, like QB sneak, right? And like I said, Notre Dame in the first half just didn't really have their act together. Their O-line wasn't doing very well. The receivers weren't doing very well. The run game wasn't doing very well. The defense wasn't doing very well. And so naturally, since they weren't really doing that well in the first half, even when he tried to QB sneak, I mean, he was basically getting tackled like right at the line of scrimmage, right? He wasn't making any sort of gains. But he only did that like maybe 2 or 3 times, right? And the announcers, the previous quarterback last year was a runner himself, right? He loved to QB sneak, and he was good at it, right? And so the announcers are like, hey, this new Notre Dame quarterback is trying to be like the previous one, and let me just tell you, you're not that guy. Like, that's basically what he said. He's like, I think his exact words is like, that's just not his game, right? Basically saying, don't run, buddy. You're not very good at it, right? And I'm like, dude, kind of give the dude a chance. You know, I think he's a redshirt freshman, all right? He's brand new. This is his first year playing on the team. He's first time starting quarterback. At least I think. I don't even know. I'm just sort of making this stuff up. But I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt freshman the first time in college football and all this stuff. Anyways, just give him a chance. Let them get their rhythm. And who knows? Maybe he's a great runner. You have no idea, right? So like I said, first half, tried to run a few times, didn't really do very well. But then in the second half, he was running and he was making huge gains, right? He was a great runner. And he even scored a touchdown on a run, like a 10-yard drive or something like that for a touchdown. And when he made that touchdown, the same announcer that said that running is not this guy's game, he literally was like hyped and he was like, who said this guy can't run? This guy's the greatest runner. And I'm like, dude, literally 30 minutes ago, you were saying that he should not run at all, basically. You were saying that that's not his game. You basically said he sucks at running. And now you're pulling up, you're like, yo, who said that? No one should be saying that. I've always believed in this kid. This guy's a great runner. Who said he can't run? You're obviously wrong. Okay, I've known from the start, this guy's a great runner. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You were trying to dunk on the poor dude, right? Just give the dude a chance. Let him run a few times. Anyways, yeah, it's stuff like that. It's the fakeness of sports announcers. It's so funny to me. But yeah, I just can you tell I love sports? No, but seriously, I'm hyped. Football's back. I love football. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw last season. I mean, I was every single day that there was my team playing, Florida State, UCF, Notre Dame, I was posting about it on my story all the time, giving you my thoughts and all that stuff. Just basically sports shit posting during the games. Like that's basically what I was doing. But man, I love football. Once again, when I was a kid, I don't want to say I didn't like football, but like, you're a kid, you have like a very short attention span. And so like after a while of just staring at the screen, like you kind of get bored of watching football games. And so I never really understood how, people could just sit in front of the TV and watch a football game. I'm like, dude, there's nothing happening, right? Just tell me who wins. That's the part that matters, is who won. But now that I'm older, dude, I fucking get it. I get it, dude. I'd be sitting in front of the TV watching football games. I mean, hell, even when my teams aren't playing, I just throw on some other game and just watch. just to see what's going on, I'm like, I don't know who the Cougars and the Bears are, but you know what? Have at it. I hope the Cougars win. That way you can go home to your brethren Pumas and mountain lions and stuff, and brag about it. I guess I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But Cougars just sound cooler. I'm talking about the animal. I'm not talking about the women. But but yeah, it's just like I just watch games. I don't watch the NFL though. Don't really watch that. I watch college football. But that's also another thing. College football, the conferences, right? Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC, right? All this stuff. As I said, like even when my team's not playing, I'll just put on some other team. And I usually try to find teams that are within like my team's conferences. So then like I can like hype them up, because I just want the overall conference to do well. Because ultimately, I mean, I just don't like the SEC or the Big Ten, but mainly I don't like the SEC. I know maybe some people, if you're really involved in college football sports, you may start having some beef with me because I said that, okay? But, UCF is a Big 12 team, Florida State is an ACC team, and Notre Dame is independent. They're not even in a conference. So, but yeah, I got big beef. I got big beef with Big Ten, and I got big beef with SEC. So, yeah, sorry to all you SEC fanboys out there. But that's part of the thing that I don't like, is that like I'm not an ACC fanboy. I know I just said that I watch teams from my conferences, but that's just so I can stick it to the SEC. That's literally it. But like in a general sense, I'm not an ACC fan, right? I'm a Florida State fan. Because like honestly, I don't like University of Miami because they're a rival of Florida State and they're in the ACC. You know, Miami was playing against Notre Dame and I wanted Notre Dame to, beat the crap out of University of Miami. So clearly I'm not an ACC fan. I'm not a Big 12 fan, right? But there are people who are literally SEC fans. Like they'll wear SEC merch. And I'm like, you don't even have a specific school. You're just like a fan of the conference. Really? You're telling me that you love every single team in the SEC, even the Gators, dog? You really you like the Gators? No one likes the Gators. I'm probably making enemies with this, saying that I don't like the Gators, but I mean, like, I'm a Florida State fan. If you're a Gator fan, you should know. I'm a Florida State fan. I don't like the Gators, just like you don't like Florida State, probably, because they're each other's biggest rivals. So, anyways, yeah. Talking about football, but now since the SEC has their fanboys, they're going nutso over them, and they just goo goo gaga, fucking, they just love the SEC, and I don't get it. But since they have them, fuck it, I'm gonna be an ACC fanboy. If you talk trash about the ACC, I'm not really gonna do anything. But I'm going to be upset. No, but seriously, it's just, I don't get it. You're a fan of the whole fucking conference. Really? There was like one dude where like I go to in-person football games. I go to football games in real life all the time, right? And I went to a Notre Dame game one time, and there was a dude. I guess they were playing someone in the SEC. I don't even remember which game it was, but he pulled up and he's wearing an SEC hat. I'm like, you didn't even just get the team? You know what I mean? Like, why not just get the baseball hat of the team that Notre Dame is playing? Why the conference? But Notre Dame ended up beating them, so I'm like, haha, fuck you, buddy. But yeah, also to give you another, indication of how SEC fans are. There was one time I went to a Notre Dame game in South Bend, Indiana, right? I'm from Florida. I flew up to South Bend, Indiana, went to a Notre Dame football game, and they were playing against Florida State, right? We get to our seats, and guess who the fuck is sitting right in front of us? A family of Gator fans. They were wearing Gator merch. University of Florida Gator merch. And I'm like, the Gators aren't playing here. What are you doing? This is Notre Dame and Florida State Seminoles. Why are you in Gator attire? Why are you at this game? This doesn't make any sense. And he didn't cheer for Notre Dame scoring, but he cheered every time Florida State got screwed over. And I'm like, okay, wait, so you literally came here just to be a hater. You flew, I'm assuming, from Florida. You flew all the way from Florida just to be a hater at a Florida State game. I mean, why couldn't you wait until when Florida State plays the Gators? They play them every year. That's like a law in Florida. They have to play each other every year. Why not just wait for that? Because at least then you'd be cheering for your own team. But no, you flew all the way to South Bend, Indiana, and it was snowing. It was the winter. It was snowing. You flew all the way up to Indiana when it was snowing, went to the University of Notre Dame campus, bought a ticket to go to the game, you went to the stadium, got in your seats just to hate on Florida State. I mean, I guess I can only assume, because there was one guy in their party. It was like a party of 4 or 5 of them, but there was one dude in the party that didn't have any sort of team merch on. So my only assumption is that one dude like goes to school there or something like that, goes to school at Notre Dame, and maybe he invited his family. But even then, I'm like, okay, wait. So hold up. You go to your son's college to go to a football game, and you don't even wear the merch to support your son's school's team. And you don't even celebrate when your son's school team does well. You just celebrate when the rival of your own school from years ago when you were in college fails. That is some hater shit, dude. Some absolute hater shit. And you know what rhymes with hater? Gator. So it's a match made in heaven. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I feel like this was a really bad episode. I'm sorry. I didn't have anything to talk about. I didn't know, you know? So, I don't know. I'm sorry. Hopefully it was entertaining. Hopefully you guys are entertained. Honestly, I was kind of having a little bit of fun talking about football there, you know, but, anyways, yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. Plus, I mean, we only got 10 minutes, so now I got time. Taylor doesn't have to get pissed off at me this time. I got time to, you know, get all this footage. Hopefully it works this time. I honestly, just one last thing. Last time when I was here, I got scared because when I was trying to get the files off of the computer, and I'm like looking, and you know, like all the files have today's date, right? Whatever that day's date is, right? And so that was like August 27th or 28th or something like that, whenever that was. And I scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's only one from like August 20th. And it wasn't my video. And I was like, uh-oh. And the audio was like the same thing. I was like, uh-oh, where... Are you telling me that this didn't record? Are you fucking kidding me? You know? Are you telling me that I just spent an hour recording a podcast episode and I didn't get a single second of it? But it turns out, no, for some reason, like the date on the computer was wrong. And on the computer, it said it was like August 9th, 2017 or something like that. So I had to scroll all the way to fucking 2017 to find my video. I don't understand that, you know, but I got scared for a second, and I was like, you know, my heart sank. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. I lost the video. I have no video. But you know, honestly, I'm looking at the audio levels right now, and I feel like they're really high. So I hope the audio isn't screwed up. That's gonna suck. We'll look into that right now. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today. That's the end of episode 96. I'm telling you, in a few years, come back to this episode and listen to me talk about the fact that in 5 years, I guarantee, in 5 years, 96 at the least, or at the most in 5 years, 96 is going to be like the new 69, 67 thing. That's going to be the new thing. I'm telling you right now. Mark my words. Okay. So when 96 blows up and everyone's like, ooh, it's the new 69, just come back here and be like, Jay called it. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Whatever you guys want to listen to, God damn it. Fucking stumbling on my words. I miss this. I miss when I wasn't able to speak. Whatever you guys are listening to this on, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and leave a review. All that really helps me out a lot. And follow me on social media at RealJLines on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Oh, and follow the podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Line on Main. Check out my main channel, J Lines. All those should be linked in the description, so you can check out my main channel if you want. Like I said, I put out a new video somewhat recently. It was about a month ago, but I got a new video that should be coming out this week. So make sure to hit up my main channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and be on the lookout for that new video. And yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, by the way, once again, episode 100. As of right now, I'm sort of thinking about, re-listening to some of y'all's favorite bits from the show. So once again, if you have a favorite moment, send it my way, and I'll listen to it, listen back, react, whatever, for episode 100. Just sort of like a podcast and review type thing, going back and listening to some of the greatest hits from the show, and just look back at the other 99 episodes. Honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I think that should be what I do. It sounds like a good idea. So yeah, make sure to send those my way if you have a favorite moment. And I'll listen to it on the show for episode 100. So anyways, yeah. Love you. I don't know. Do I?